Hello everyone and welcome back to Dinar Daily, my YouTube channel. Let's start the today information. The Central Bank of Iraq and the Iraqi Finance Committee have long understood that before any meaningful monetary reform could take place, the country's electronic payment infrastructure needed to be fully developed, widely adopted, and operating at scale. Back in early January 2023, the Finance Committee made their intentions crystal clear. Their goal was to market the electronic payment process and do it in a big way. That was not a casual statement. It was a declaration of strategic intent, and by all current indications, that goal has been accomplished. Electronic payment systems have now been successfully expanded across Iraq, and the official messaging from within the country is unambiguous. This milestone has been reached. The significance of this achievement extends far beyond simple convenience for Iraqi consumers. Electronic payment reduces the cost of paper currency and supports economic transparency, two pillars that are absolutely essential to the next phase of Iraq's monetary transformation. This was not an accidental priority. Information from CBI Context confirms that the successful rollout of electronic payments was a prerequisite, a non-negotiable condition, for conducting the long-discussed project to delete the zeros. Without a robust digital payment infrastructure in place, any attempt to redenominate the currency and withdraw large volumes of physical cash from circulation would be chaotic and destabilizing. Citizens and businesses need an alternative to cash before cash can be meaningfully pulled back. That alternative is now in place. And this connects directly to the vision articulated more than a decade ago by Dr. Shabibi, the former governor of the Central Bank of Iraq, who stated as far back as 2011 that electronic payment development was an integral part of the plan to withdraw nearly two-thirds of the monetary mass in circulation and conduct the project to delete the zeros. What Shabibi described in 2011 as a future requirement is now a present reality. The foundation has been built. The infrastructure is live. And the next logical step, the redenomination and revaluation of the Iraqi dinar, has never been closer to execution. The project to delete the zeros is not a rumor or a wishful theory. It is an officially acknowledged plan by the Central Bank of Iraq to redenominate the currency, replacing existing high denomination notes with new, lower denomination notes at a significantly higher exchange rate. The practical effect of this would be to restore the dinar's purchasing power to something resembling its historical value, and that is where the conversation becomes truly compelling. References are now being made to returning to the previous era and the glory days of the Iraqi dinar. For those unfamiliar with Iraq's monetary history, context is important. In 1987, the value of one Iraqi dinar was $3.30. That is not speculation or invention, it is a historical fact. Iraq's currency once held genuine, substantial value on the world stage, and the ambition being expressed by Iraqi leadership is to return to that kind of standing. Prime Minister al-Sudani himself has told Iraqi citizens that the dinar will be stronger than the dollar, not with a specific date attached, but as a statement of direction and inevitability. He even cautioned his citizens to be careful, implying that a significant shift is coming and that they should be prepared. It is all coming full circle. On the international stage, additional momentum is building. The new U.S. president has allegedly signed an executive order on cryptocurrency finance, a move that signals the broader restructuring of global financial systems is accelerating. The instruction that followed was simple and electric. Get ready, buckle your seatbelts, because we are about to go warp speed. When executive-level policy decisions begin aligning with ground-level preparations inside Iraq, it is difficult to dismiss the convergence as coincidental. The pieces are moving simultaneously across multiple fronts: legislative, monetary, digital, and now at the highest levels of American executive policy. Banks were set to begin operating under these new parameters as early as Tuesday, January 28, 2025, suggesting that the institutional machinery of this transition was already being set in motion. Perhaps the most tangible and immediate signal that something significant is imminent comes from the Wealth Management and Redemption Center community. Personnel at these facilities are on call, and the message they have received is specific and telling. They have been told to expect a couple of long weekends in the very near future. They were explicitly instructed to expect to work next weekend and the weekends after that, and were told to enjoy what may be their last quiet weekend on call because they are about to work a lot. In the world of financial transitions of this magnitude, staffing decisions are not made casually. When redemption center personnel are being pre-positioned and placed on alert for extended working hours across multiple consecutive weekends, it reflects genuine operational preparation, not rumor or speculation. Something is being prepared for, and the people responsible for processing it are being told to be ready. To understand the full scope of what Iraq's monetary recovery could look like, it is instructive to look at the historical parallel of post-World War II Germany. Germany faced devastating restrictions following the war's end in 1945. Its military was disbanded, weapons production was prohibited, and reparations were demanded in the form of goods, resources, and labor. International trade was heavily restricted. And yet, through the Marshall Plan and a committed process of economic reconstruction, West Germany had lifted most of its restrictive measures by the early 1950s and was well on its way to one of the most remarkable economic recoveries in modern history. By the 1950s, Germany had been reintegrated into the global economy. Today, people all over the world drive Mercedes-Benz. Parallel to Iraq is not perfect, but the trajectory is instructive. Iraq has endured decades of war, sanctions, political dysfunction, and economic isolation. But the infrastructure for recovery is now in place, the political will appears to be crystallizing, and the international community, particularly the United States, has a strategic interest in seeing Iraq succeed. Germany's recovery took roughly 5 years from the end of the war. Iraq's journey has been longer and more complicated, but the destination appears to be the same: full reintegration into the global economy with a currency that reflects the nation's true resource wealth. Speaking of resource wealth, it is important to address some persistent misunderstandings about how Iraq's oil economy actually works and what it means for dinar valuation. The originating price for oil is roughly $34 per barrel. The remainder of the price, which brings it up to approximately $75 per barrel at current market rates, is composed of broker fees, transportation costs, delivery logistics, and holding costs. Understanding this distinction matters because it provides context for the Dinar for Oil program and the so-called contract rate conversations that circulate in dinar investment communities. China, facing international sanctions that excluded it from Iraq's dinar auctions, sought to acquire dinar through alternative channels, specifically through private dinar owners, in order to purchase Iraqi oil. Through intermediaries, China made contracts with private owners offering enticing prices for their dinar holdings. This is the origin of what became known as the contract rate. However, It is critically important to be clear. The contract rate is not $75 per dinar. The idea of $75 per dinar is not reality-based, and promoting it as such is misleading. Furthermore, the U.S. Treasury put a definitive halt to the private contracting of dinar as of October 2011, unless an individual holds a pre-2011 contract, which is an extremely narrow and specific circumstance. They will not receive a contract rate from any redemption center. Managing expectations honestly is part of responsible engagement with this investment, and anyone promising otherwise is not operating in good faith. What is real? What is documented? And what is now being confirmed through multiple converging signals is this: Iraq has successfully built the electronic payment infrastructure required for monetary reform. The project to delete the zeros is no longer a distant concept, it is a prepared and imminent operation. The HCL has been signed. Government formation is advancing. Redemption center personnel are being called to work. The U.S. President has signed executive orders restructuring the digital financial landscape. Oil revenues are rising. And the leadership of Iraq itself is speaking openly about returning to the glory days, to the previous era, to the time when one Iraqi dinar was worth $3.30, and Iraq stood as an economic force in the Middle East and the world. Every piece of the puzzle that needed to be in place has been put in place. The electronic payment system is successful and done. What comes next is the moment that this entire long, patient, complicated process has been building toward. The seat belts are fastened. The engines are running. And for those who have been watching and waiting, the signal is clear. Something historic is very close.